They have been missing for the last 47, almost 48 years. And depending on where he went, that could have been his death sentence right there. What's up, everybody? It's your girl B Octavia, and I am back with another video. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is B Octavia. I am an entrepreneur and I am from DC. Now, the video before last, I talked about Frank Matthews' life and his legacy, and I briefly spoke on his disappearance. Today we will be getting into the theories of Frank Matthews' disappearance, what we do know, and the conclusions that we can come to, or at least I can come to. He and his 23-year-old girlfriend, Cheryl Denise Brown, disappeared June 26, 1973 in New York City. They have been missing for the last 47, almost 48 years. It is believed that Frank Matthews fled the country attempting to avoid his upcoming sentencing for tax evasion and conspiracy to distribute heroin and cocaine. The court appearance was scheduled for July 2nd, 1973. When he did not show up for his court appearance, police spoke to several people who stated they hadn't seen Frank since a week prior. As a result, the FBI put a $20,000 bounty on Frank. He and John Dillinger were the only two men to have a high bounty like that. The FBI and police officials alleged that Frank left the country with his 23-year-old girlfriend and $15 to $20 million. He left his wife and their 3 sons together, never to see them again. He also left behind the Staten Island mansion that he took a lot of pride in having. No trace of Frank Matthews or his girlfriend has ever been found. There have been no confirmed sightings of them since 1973. No leads, and they have not gotten in contact with their families. Now, before we start speaking on the theories, and maybe this could be a huge theory within its own, but I had a question to myself, and I was just like, what would make you leave your family behind to face all of the backlash and to face all of the scrutiny and potential time in prison? You never know, how the police can get you or get your loved ones to get you. But that's where the cocaine dependency comes in at. Being on cocaine, I can say from being a witness to it, being on cocaine makes you a very selfish person. If you was the selfish person before, it turns even worse. And if you stay on it long enough, it alters and damages your mind, so you never think it's nothing wrong with your actions. I also thought, why would Miss Cheryl, the 23-year-old girlfriend, why would she leave everything that she knew? And then a couple of theories came to mind. Number one, no disrespect to her, but she could have had a cocaine problem as well. Number two, I thought she might have known or thought to herself that she couldn't find a man or would never find a man as powerful or with as much riches as Frank Matthews. And a lot of women don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit that they want to be taken care of. They don't want to admit that they want a man who has a certain amount of riches and they're willing to do anything to keep it, There have been many women in history that have exiled themselves from their family just to keep the relationship of a powerful man. So that's number two. Now, number three, I was thinking that she could have thought that they would just be gone for a certain amount of time and would be able to come back. Because if you live in a very fast life at a young age, you never really have a plan B. You just going along with plan A until you figure something else out. And there maybe never will be a plan B. Especially if you are following what a man wants you to follow. And all of those could be the case for the young girlfriend. To be honest, of course, we just making our own assumptions, or we're drawing our own conclusions because we don't know her. I don't know Frank. But if I'm in the mindset of a 23-year-old who is from, maybe the slums of New Jersey or the slums of New York or whatever, like being in that mindset, I can come to certain conclusions myself because I've been a witness to weak women. I've been a witness to women who don't want to do for themselves and want to follow the plan of a man just because he got money. All of those could be the case for her, but for neither of them to be seen, heard from, spoken to since 1973, it really makes me believe that foul play was involved. A lot of people speak on Frank Matthews being able to build his drug empire for a lengthy amount of time without being detected by police. They also speak on how skilled he was in transportation, manufacturing, security, and money laundering, right? And also the major connections that he had. And all of that is true. But when leaving a country and setting up shop in a different place, setting up shop in a foreign country could be very difficult and dangerous. And I only say that because just as connected as Frank was, the mob was connected as well. And they shared some of the same connections. And it's no disrespect to Frank. I ain't talking down on the street legend at all. But he got ran out of Philly by the Philly Black Mafia. And if you don't want the same things to happen again, it depends on where you go. I can think of a lot of different places like Guatemala and all of that, and that's connected with the mob as well. So it's not many places that he could have went, just in my eyes, right? And depending on where he went, that could have been his death sentence right there. Although cocaine is a very selfish drug and it turns you into a very maybe vindictive or different person, I should say, I would really hope that it didn't make him say, fuck my family, fuck what they gotta deal with as a result of me leaving. I would really hope that he didn't just say fuck them. Even though in history, men have done that time and time again. To create that type of tension with your growing sons, and for your children to have to grow up with that type of anger and resentment towards you, I just would really think any parent wouldn't want that. And it's something that no parent should want to do. It's something that I wouldn't advise, because dudes lose loyalty for their wives all the time. That's regular. It's regular for a man to have a little mistress and he finna run from his problems with the mistress. Okay, that's cool. But you mean to tell me it wasn't nothing left for the children at all? 15, 20 million and you was gone. What was left? And another reason why I say foul play is like to never show any sign of loyalty towards your children and to your children after nearly 50 years. I think something happened to him, shortly after he disappeared on his own. And I'm just saying that because I just would hope. I would hope that a person wouldn't be alive all this time running from their problems and running from what they did in the past. And run from your own family. Run from your own sons that probably turned out a lot like you. And I would hope not. Because any man that abandons their children is not a man at all. I mean, you could have left something. Who's to say that the police wasn't going to take the mansion that they were staying in? I don't even know what happened to the mansion. Who's to say that the police didn't seize that? Because it was bought and built with drug money. It is no record of them boarding any plane. There's no pilot ever that has came out and said that he was the pilot that took them to X, Y, and Z. And you know people run their mouth. So it's crazy to me that nobody has said anything over all of this time. So within his enemies, for me, it would be likely more that the mob had something to do with it. I think that they was the only organization that had the means to find him, that had the means to track him, that had the means in outside of the U.S. to control him not making no more money, him not setting up shop nowhere. Outside of the U.S., it's more loyalty too. You know, it's a language barrier. It's a lot of different things, and you're going to have to trust a lot of people as a American who don't know the lay of the land or whatever you say, right? The mob had the means to make Frank and his girlfriend permanently disappear. They had the means to. They had the motive. I mean, it makes sense to me. You got to trust people going out of the country. I mean, any tourist or anybody who's looking to live there or stay there for a certain amount of time, you got to trust the people that live there for communication, transportation. You got to trust that they saying exactly what you think they saying, because it's a different language. You got to trust them for moving around in a part of the town and all of that. And that's something that Frank Matthews was willing to do. Probably, but I would think that it was easier for him to get double crossed where nobody can see. I know a lot of people would like to think that he's the one that got away, and perhaps he did. Perhaps he got away from doing 50 years to life in prison. Perhaps he did, right? But when making a huge move like that, it's always unexpected shit that pops up. It's always going to be something that you don't expect that's going to happen. And it's never going to be within your control. Especially if you somewhere that's totally foreign to you. He was very experienced, but having a cocaine problem probably made his experience very difficult or different. It could have made him an easier target. And then thinking about that, it's almost like if he wasn't going to set up shop in another place, he was going to just become a user in another place. So you got to trust people not to lace your drugs up. You got to trust people not to make you overdose and things like that. You got to trust people to give you the right drugs that you want for your need. It ain't even for you to sell. It's for you to use. And honestly, with talking about the mob, that's something that we probably will never know. We probably won't ever know if they had nothing to do with it because of their loyalty to their organization, of their loyalty to each other. They had some rats up in there. That's fair to say. But overall, the mob is very loyal, you know, and their secrecy is top notch, top tier. Can't touch it. Can't be duplicated. It just can't. And of course, if it happened in another country and it's not under the nose of the police, why would they say anything anyway? It never happened. What I feel is the smallest thing they would probably do is have a private victory session, you know what I'm saying? To celebrate the death that nobody knew about. Quite a few street legends, serial killers, and mafia men fled the country time and time before. Most of these men had a lot of money. I'm not going to say they had as much as Frank Matthews had, right? And they were caught by authorities. So I think that a lot of people would like to put him higher up and think that he was the one that got away. But I think that it depends on what you're saying he got away from. Did he get away from that conviction? Yeah. But did he get away with it as far as living a peaceful life for all of this time and he's still chilling, whatever? Nah, I really don't think so. I really don't believe it. It's no way possible that nobody has seen him. Nobody has seen her. It's just not, it doesn't even make sense to me. The only thing that I can think is foul play. And it's huge to me because I don't want to see you as like no deadbeat or a runner, you know, a family man turned runner. I don't want to see you like that. I don't want to see it like that where, you know, you get discovered one day and you ain't took care of them, you ain't gave them nothing, you ain't broke them off, you ain't tried to. Honestly, I think that I would have respected Frank Matthews more towards the end, you know, towards the time of his disappearance if he didn't run. I would have respected it more because it would have showed your children how to stand up and face your problems like a man. It's no way that you can just run from it. No way. And you should never. A lot of men did a lot of time. And then they got out, reconnected with their families, and been the men and the fathers they were supposed to be all that time. So for him to just drop that ball and never pick it up again, I honestly would hope that it was foul play. I would, because no man should ever. And the next time that somebody say the one that got away from his children. That's what he was. The one that just walked away from that with a little young girl, you know? He was 29, she was 23. You know, she should have been somewhere building something for herself. And where did it get her? Never to be seen or heard from again. Lord knows what her mother thought. Lord knows what any of her family or loved ones thought. Did she think about all of the agony that she would cause? Probably not. We got to be mindful of stuff like that. You can't just be moving through life and going on a whim thinking perhaps that you're going to be able to come back. Never to be heard from or seen again. I mean, for me as a woman, this taught me, along with my childhood, taught me to never follow a man's plan. You always have to have your own plan. Always. Because what you realize is your plan seems to always make more sense than a plan that was made for you. Now let that sink in. And this is also a lesson to all men, especially men that's around my age or a little bit older, who's around Frank's age. Don't run from your responsibilities when you're running from your problems. It's your girl B Octavia, and I will see y'all in my next video. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and I will see y'all then.